on that platform using it for their emergency response. Y'all allowed us to make that application. We did make an application for a total of $175,673. This would include additional talk groups on the platform, and would also include bringing portable radios to our firemen and our policemen, and also mobile radios, which mobile radios are ones that go in cars and fire trucks. I'm happy to announce that just a few days ago we got a letter receiving this award. It is a 75-25. It was not budgeted because, as you know, this came about, well, I brought it to you on December 6th as the chief, because it came about so quickly. It came about after our budget process. The good news is we don't actually have to spend the money, or we have to have the project completed by December 31st of 2024. So we could bust this out into 2 budget cycles if y'all wanted us to. We could manage the money better that way. But what we're really seeking tonight is seeking the board's acceptance of the grant and the authority. The grant award is $131,754.75, and our 25% portion is $43,918.25. And just to give you some perspective of that amount of money in terms of radios, when we did our radio project, maybe 10 years ago, we bought a digital radio package. Between buying all of our radios and all of our handhelds and doing the stuff that was required on the tower, it was probably, and we did this in concert with the Sheriff's Department too, so I would say the city spent about the same amount of money and the Sheriff's Department spent about the same amount of money. And the advantage of AWIN is once you get on the AWIN system, you may have to pay to get on it, like the talk groups. There's a cost to get these talk groups set up. But once they're set up, there's no more charge to the city. If a tower gets knocked out through lightning, no cost to the city. If something goes wrong on the backbone, there's no cost to the city. The state maintains it. The only ongoing cost to the city would be their own individual radios, buying new radios, reprogramming their own radios, and if you ever wanted to create more talk groups, you'd have to pay for those. So that's kind of what the grant's about. I think staff would recommend, right now it's going to cost us $43,000, but in the years to come, I think it'll save us money and save us some headaches. When lightning strikes our tower and we have to pay $10,000 to come fix something, we won't have to do that in the future. And Daryl may want to speak on this. He manages radios for the fire department. I don't know, do you have anything you wanted to say? Fire chief's not here.
This is enough radios for everybody?
Well, this is enough radios for the police department. We'd have enough in our cars, enough on our hips, and that'd be for the fire department, trucks, and they keep a certain amount of radios for their officers that are on duty.
I mean, I can say a little bit about the fire.
Sure.
Just popped in my head. Their system is reaching the end of its life. I would say it's 15, 16 years old. They are having a few radio issues. We've been working back and forth, some clarity issues, and I think that this may help that. No guarantees, but I think it'll it'll allow them better access to the police without having 2 separate radios.
Yeah.
They can just switch it over to another channel. So, so I think that as far as fire goes, that's
I definitely think the statewide people are getting on this system in droves. You know, it started back in Governor Huckabee's era. They started AWIN, and everybody was skittish to get on it because they weren't for sure it was going to be fully funded, and if we got on it then, would it go away and we all spent this money, because these radios are more expensive than our current radios. But now, you know, 20 years later, 15 years later, now AWIN is well funded. like, you can never say in government it'll always be funded, but it's a lot better funded. There's boards set up for this funding. It's a good mechanism in place currently. And in droves, people are getting on the system. Not only police and fire, but ambulance, Pafford's on the system. So it'll just be a matter of switching channels to talk with Pafford. Schools are getting on the system. Hospitals are getting on the system. Little Rock Transit folks are getting on the system. They're really opening this up to, in case we had a big emergency, we could contact and work across the board in many ways.
But, I mean, I would say we do need the ability to have some access to the secondary system. I mean,
Yes.
we do intend, I think, to keep that, because if we have all the eggs in one basket.
If something goes down.
And something goes down at the state, I mean, they'll get it up quick because it's affecting the entire state, but we may be kind of having some issues. And even if we just have our radios, we don't even keep the repeater, we can still talk within a 2-3 mile radius and
Yeah.
be effective enough.
Yeah. And right now we use 2 repeaters, right? One's for the fire and one for PD. So even if we lost one repeater, we could say, okay, our backup system is going to be this other radio system, and everybody would have a radio on that repeater. So there's a lot of ways for us to do it, save money. I definitely think it's a good thing to do. It is $43,918 that would affect our budget, that would need y'all's approval, and it's not budgeted currently. But like I said, maybe we could plan to try to do half of this year and half of it next year and divide it out, and we could, or y'all could say, no, just JR, just go ahead and do it the way you think it needs to be done and do it as quickly as you can. I'm really open, but we have until December 31st, 2024 to have spent all the money. We get the money in advance.
Now, we upgraded communications in this room with some of those funds that we were given.
The ARPA funds.
Is that a opportunity to use ARPA funds towards this?
It is. It is.
I mean, I don't know why we keep them rat hold if we know, I mean, if it's money that we know we need to spend and it qualifies to be spent, why we wouldn't use some of that money and get this taken care of. The other question was, you talked about how they're moving towards this system, but obviously I would think a lot of these smaller communities around us are not on this system. How would you communicate? Is there a way, what would you use to communicate with other?
So all of us now have this system in our car to some degree.
Okay.
Like Hope, Hempstead County, all the counties around us probably have a radio in each car. So we could communicate with each other. We just don't have them, we're just not using them primarily as our dispatch. We don't have them on our hips. But we could probably use them from a car to car between department to department.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the rural fire, they have at least one, maybe at every rural fire. They put in for this grant too. They put in for, I think, 2 radios per rural fire department. The Hempstead County Sheriff's Office has put in for this, so they can get more portables in case we're able to move to this dispatching platform. So we're all planning over time to move that way, and we'll pull the trigger on the dispatching platform as soon as we can get it all set up and going.
All right. You've heard the plan here. Is there a motion or anything, any movement on going forward, or do you want a motion and bring it out of our reserves? I think our ARPA money or whatever is really just put into the budget, right? I mean, reserves right now, because we kind of figured out a way to,
Cindy's not here, but we do have an ARPA fund.
we do still have it separate.
I think so.
Okay. All right.
I would like to take this year's out of the ARPA fund and budget for the other half next year. That way we're not, that way if we need to use the ARPA fund on something else, we've got it. But that way we could go ahead and budget the other $21,900 next year in the PD budget or whatever, the city budget. But let's go ahead and approve to go ahead and pay half of it with the funds, and if that makes sense to everybody.
That's your motion?
Is there a motion?
Sure. I make a motion that we accept the grant award and pay $21,959 out of the ARPA funds
Second.
for 23.
Okay, motion is second to accept the grant and pay half out of the ARPA and half next year out of the, we're gonna budget the next half, so.
Mayor, could I make a comment?
Oh, you could?
I just want to be clear, is the completion of it, how, if you had all the funds, when could you complete the project?
They told us literally the talk groups could be done within a few weeks. The radios would be, we have to bid it out, and that'd probably take us 3 weeks to advertise, get to the board. Board would make a decision on accepting the bid, then it'd be a matter of inventory. When can they get the inventory in? And yeah, that's the only other issue is if it takes you a year to get inventory, that could become a problem.
Well, I mean, the reason I ask, based on the motion made, you would not be able to do it for a year.
Some of that we wouldn't be able to, that's correct. And I was just only thing I'd say to the motion is that, you know, and it may not come out exactly half what the money you spend, it may not come exactly to the dollar, but we could get pretty close, I think.
But we're getting the money up front.
We're getting the money up front.
Yeah.
That's correct. And every time we spend, they'll audit our spending to make sure it's 75-25 split. And if we don't spend it all by the 2024, we got to give back what we haven't spent
So we could actually spend it all
right now.
rather quickly.
Sure.
So if we wait a year, it would just be slowing down the process.
We'd slow the process and we'd run it, maybe price hikes, maybe price diminishes. We don't, you don't really know about that.
That's what I was gonna say, will our quotes still be good?
Yeah,
We
Yeah,
haven't
that's
got
a-
actual bids, but we've reached out and got some numbers.
yeah.
Okay. Mark, you want to amend your motion or you want to leave it as it is? I mean, I think if we do all the money this year, then we can move forward on all the bids. And like you say,
Well,
it could go up in a year.
but could we always come back and do the other half this year if we wanted to?
Yeah, we could if we
Well,
if we
bids
need
are
to.
only most of the times good for 30 days, so you want to do them as soon as possible.
That's the
Advertise
thing,
them.
is if we can purchase them this year at a lower cost than waiting until next year, it's gonna help us out.
So.
Because their part isn't gonna change, it's our part that's gonna change.
Exactly. Okay, I'm gonna amend it that we'll pay it in full this year.
Through our,
Is that what
To
you're?
the ARPA funds, no.
That was just a comment I had.
Okay.
I wasn't trying, I was just
No,
making
no.
a point.
Okay, Mark's amended his motion to take all the money this year out of the ARPA fund. That'd be 43,918.25. Okay, so that's all coming out now, and we can go ahead and get ready with this project. All those in favor say aye.
We did-
We had a second.
We didn't have a second.
Oh, we didn't have a second yet? Okay, I'm sorry.
so I'll second you.
All right, now there's a motion and a second. Okay,
One question before we,
okay.
will we see this again after the bid?
No, once we go to bid and we bring the bids to you, you'll accept the bids you want to accept and then we'll move forward.
So you will bring the bids to us?
Yes,
That's what I meant
the bids
to
will
say.
come to you,
We would
correct.
see it
Yes,
before
sir.
it's purchased.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion is second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the next item, which is that airport. We're always working on that airport.
Yeah, Daryl's here. He's our airport director and he is,
Give me that look one more time for the paper.
Yeah, let's see that look again.
he has some things we're wanting to accomplish out there. We think it would be very important things to get accomplished. And Daryl, if you'll come to the platform and
State your name.
State your name and title.
Earl Allen, City of Hope, GIS, Technology Coordinator, Airport Manager.
extraordinaire.
We currently, the item we're bringing up here is, we have the beacon, the old green and clear bulb, one of them's burned out. We attempted to climb the tower. airport attendant was not comfortable with that job. It is a very narrow, tall, it's 60 foot tall, no safety kind of stuff, and, you know, so we decided we would seek professional help. Sammy Cornelius has done it before. He has said he will no longer climb it. He's, 75, I don't know, and we've got a couple folks around that would climb it, but there's several things wrong with that tower. There's some wires hanging out of the conduit. The obstruction, the red lights that glow, they don't work. The lights are burned out on top of the tower, the control tower. They're supposed to have obstruction lights, and there's some obstruction lights on top of the building. So we contacted an electrician that does this for a lot of airports out of Hot Springs. That's his primary. He's not a residential, he's not a commercial. He is an aviation and industrial electrician. Came down, proposed, maintenance on the beacon, replacing both the bulbs, replacing the obstruction lights, the red lights, from the old style bulbs to LED, including the lift and all that. And then he quotes, around $10,000 for new fixtures and the time. Renting the lift, he said that lift, if you rent that lift a week, it's like a 100-foot lift. It's like $5,000-6,000 a week. He's not gonna have it the whole week, so, a couple $1,000. But he said if we rented the lift, for instance, every year every year or two, replace those red bulbs when they burn out, we're gonna go through several $1,000s of rental of equipment. We're still gonna have old fixtures that you can't get the globes anymore. I bought the absolute last one on eBay that I could find, and no other airports around have them. We had another one broken on somewhere else we're working on, so. JR and I talked about it, and we proposed, with that quote, I attempted to get a second quote, didn't receive a call back. So we thought we would try to get your direction to proceed, not proceed, bid it out, seek a grant, or what, but, grants take quite a bit more time, submittal and things like that. So thought we'd come to you and see if we could just proceed with this, get these repairs done, and then continue on to some more. We've got several more projects going on out there, so. Does that kind of make sense?
The total bid is $10,969. There's plenty of money in the airport fund to handle it. Daryl does plan to bring you, just in a few more weeks, something he wants to propose for a grant. I think the 90-10 grant through Arkansas Aeronautics, or 80-20 grant through Arkansas Aeronautics.
Yeah, we currently we haven't used our 90-10 grant for the fiscal year. This fiscal year expires at the end of June, so we have, several of you have driven by the airport and noticed probably the fence laying on the ground. I guess the weather over the last several years has pushed most of our fence up out of the ground, and some of it is laying down. We could repair it. It's approaching 30-year-old residential grade chain link. Most of it's rusted, and so we thought we'd kind of put together a grant application, take advantage of that 90-10, that we don't have any other projects that, we kind of heading that direction. At least from the engineers, they haven't really proposed anything. We've got the big projects, and then these little small fence projects. The state said that's a good one to use for them. This is a state 90-10, 10% match.
But because this had some safety elements to it, we wanted just to come to the board and ask the board to let us just go ahead and spend this money and get this wrapped up for the beacon and the building lights, obstruction lights. So planes are supposed to have that out there.
You're supposed to have that, and we currently are listed on our airport under the FAA that our lights are out. So planes do realize, if they check like they're supposed to, they do realize that we do have that those issues at this time, but I'd like to get those going. quick as we can. And it's something that, you know, we've been working on it, going back and forth with the electrician, trying to find somebody. You know, we thought we'll just do it. And, I mean, if any of y'all like to climb towers, you know, we can hook you up. But we asked Hope Water and Light. Their bucket trucks will not reach where it needs to reach because they have about a 60-foot reach. They have to be right under the tower. And it's in a spot that we either have to bring in a tremendous amount of gravel to build a base or just wait until it's really dry. And we didn't really want to keep waiting. And they can't even touch the control tower because that's around 70, 75 feet. So thought about that. Ladder truck, same thing. It has to sit so far out and the ladder just doesn't go and it's not steady enough to work off of. So.
Okay, one thing about this, it does come out of the airport fund where that funding has to be spent on the airport, so I know that fund can handle this, but is there any request about this or just maintenance of the airport? Never ends.
Now, you did say he's furnishing the lift, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that quote is a turnkey. I call him up and say, do it, and he'll come and do everything. It includes some maintenance on the beak, greasing some bearings and some things that they do on a routine basis that has not been done. That, you know, I don't know when it was done last.
Well, if he's stuck with that lift for a week, Summer might have some light poles that he could reach that we have no way to change.
Well, I think he's gonna probably rent it by the day and
I
probably
understand.
try and get it in a day or day and a half and probably return it as quick as possible. You know, more profit on his end. So, but these fixtures are generally, you know, they're $800 to $1,000 a piece, so he's replacing 3 of them. And the lift and the time, so it's not a bad price. I was actually kind of surprised that it was at that price. So.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion to approve the bid of $10,969 by H&H Electric.
Second motion.
Okay, motion is second to approve the repairs at the airport. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mayor, before we move on, hey Daryl, could I ask you to hang loose for a second? Daryl had a good talk with Forestry Commission, and I just wanted to bring you while he's here, out there at the airport. I
Well,
thought
we
maybe
all
we could-
know we need to, that we have 700, 800 acres of timber out there at the airport that was planted and designed for income. IP used to kind of help us manage that when they were out there, and I think you all were told last year that they can no longer do that. Contacted the Forestry Commission just to have a forester come out there and just give us their opinion and there's some direction from somebody that has no interest in making any money off of it. And she made her initial visit. We have quite a bit around the gate number 4, that first track down there. It's got what we think are the bugs. We've got quite a bit of dead timber in there. And it's on the bottom edge of the saw log size. And initial was clear cut that, get the bugs, you know, before the bugs just keep destroying everything. We've got some few other tracks that are the bigger, about the 18. The others were 14, 15 diameter breast height. They want around 20 at the mill is what they're liking right now. And so we might cut some of that, leave some of that for another 5 years. Try and get a 5-7 year, you know, several different age groups in there. Right now we only have 2 age groups, and just kind of get a direction. They have a program for a very detailed management plan from the Forestry Commission. So I'm going to investigate that, and we'll kind of bring that to you and see if that's what. It's not a. If you guys remember, some of you remember the CRP program we were in. They had some very tight restrictions, and we got out of that because of the restrictions, I think. This, she said, is not designed for that. They really help you manage your timber. Do you want to manage it for wildlife? Do you want to manage it for money? And, you know, we're on the money side because the less wildlife out there, honestly, is better at the airport. So, and we, you know, have, all around us has been clear cut. So we have quite a bit of wildlife in the area. So, but that's kind of where we are right now, kind of a preliminary first visit. She's gonna come back, verify the bugs, that those were the beetles that we don't want. They're pretty confident that it is, because we saw 100, 200 dead trees in one area. So we need to get that get working on that. That was something that JR's definitely wanting to get going, so. Any questions about that?
Would you, so we have some that are close to the maximum maturity, close to that 20-inch, and then we have some that maybe need to be thinned out too.
Yeah, there's probably the bug area, she said thinning. I think they're probably gonna recommend we really need to wipe it out.
Yeah.
Then replant. And then some areas that just need to be thinned to get another 5, 7, 8 years. And then some of those that are almost mature, she said you can let them go 3, 4 more years, get that last little bit on them, and then take them.
And will she kind of give us an idea what she thinks the value is of what we could do now?
Don't think she's gonna do a value.
Okay.
They don't,
Do valuation?
that's,
To market-driven, market price?
oh, yeah. I mean, we can probably get a little bit of an idea, 'cause they'll give us an amount.
So if he comes back with a commission and a recommendation, hey, that we thin this, maybe cut this, do this, if it's just eradicating a bug problem, that's one thing, but if it's a monetary issue, we would put that out for bid to companies and bring those bids to you and let you see what the
Yeah,
offers
we would
are.
try and get, obviously the best we can for it. And obviously the more we have available, willing to cut, the better price we'll get, because they'll be there longer working.
All right, thank you.
I have an additional question about the airport. On the FEMA structures, I know last year we discussed, hopefully somebody would want to buy them or take them off our hands. Has that gone anywhere?
Not that I'm aware of.
Jeremy was working, and he's giving me a little bit of numbers to say, because we had an interest at Public Works for one of them.
Right.
You guys said, hey, get us a price. I just can't get that from him. He's giving me some pricing. It looks like it would be between $300,000 to $400,000 to take it down, move it, build foundation, and skin it back. But a building that size, if you built that sturdy of a building, would probably be $750,000 to $800,000. A big building. Now, if you just build a pole barn with some tin on the sides, you could probably do it for a lot less. We were just looking for something to protect some equipment, and we already had that skeleton. We thought that'd be nice to use, but that's a pretty good investment. Even if you broke it out over several years, which we would, take it down, move it. He said taking it down and moving it, was like $8,000. He said that's the cheap end. It's just to putting it all back together. So I've got a list of 5 people that are interested in buying it. So we can put that out. And if we just want to keep one and sell one, we can do that too. So
Guess that would depend on the price they're willing to pay.
yeah, some of them want us to give it to them just to get rid of them.
So
Like I just-
$8,000 value.
But like I just said, for $8,000 or $10,000, we could pay somebody to take them down, and they'd be worth a lot more in pieces down, bundled up for somebody. So, which I wouldn't recommend doing that. Just make them do the work. So, there's several folks that have expressed interest, including New Millennium, Hosteller Roofing. One of the guys that does some of the hay, not Rebel Kid, but somebody that cuts with him, they're interested in it for hay. I mean, that'd be awfully expensive, but it's sturdy. There's a couple more I've got on the list so that's kind of the status on it. So if y'all just want to say, just do this or do that, then that's what we need to do. I was trying to get something from Jeremy, because he was, I'm trying to get the last numbers together for the skinning of the building, and then he was gonna give us here's how it is, how much it's gonna be to move it and erect the building. Now, you can take it in pieces. You can take one section, just move it and build it. I thought that'd be some little small storage. I thought about hangars. They're just not wide enough for even small planes.
Out of curiosity, have we talked to any of our industry that might be interested in taking them and taking it down?
New Millennium is interested, and I don't know whether they would, I think they're interested in moving it onto their property or
Yeah.
not.
I know Brentwood,
Keep it
they're having a storage issues. They might would be interested
Yeah, I
as
mean, we
well.
would need to I think, probably contact all of our industries and
I think what we could do, if y'all want us to, is just declare it surplus, and we can put it out on for people to try to buy. They can give us their bids. And then we could bring those
It's not
bids to
gonna
you.
get any, we're not gonna get, it's not gonna become any more valuable sitting out there.
Exactly, that's my point, just, I mean, I think we've hashed this out so many times, we might as well just make a move on it and.
We
get
can
them
bring
off.
y'all an agenda request to declare it surplus if you'd like, and then we can work on trying to get some bids for what somebody would buy.
There's two out there, right? Why don't we
Same
just-
size?
Why don't we just do one?
See
Yeah,
how
same
one-
And the
size,
side.
double roll-up doors on each.
I still think we ought to move it.
Lights and stuff. And if you want me to push Jeremy a little harder,
Why don't we put one up on the deal and just see what it'll do, and then we'll still have one, because all the city needs is one. I mean,
we could even do half of them, you know, but
just do one and see
What
what.
if you got somebody to bid taking it down and putting it back up somewhere else? Just so we,
you know, Jeremy's suggestion was you make a proposal where to a corporation, to a company, contractor, whatever, that would take one down, move it, put it up, and they could have the other one for that. And that may be, well, here's option A. You guys can have this one for that, but if you're not interested, how much would you give us for?
well, then you're going valuation from 8,000 worth of one to 300,000 versus one. So, I mean, that's a much better deal if somebody signs on for that than just to give someone one for taking it down.
Yeah.
If those numbers are accurate.
Well, that's with the skinning and all that. We're not talking them put it up and skin it and everything. That would be an extra.
Okay.
That would be extra. That would just them basically using their equipment to take it down and re-erect it back for us, or even just move it, and we don't, you know, we proceed with that at a later date. Just the value of somebody taking it down and moving it is pretty good for us, because that ability, I'm not sure, you know, lifts, you know, they're pretty expensive, and we don't really have that capability.
Yeah, I just think it'd be nice to see an accurate number of what it would be to do it before we get rid of one, if we have use for them.
Well, we can try to get you some numbers, good numbers of what it'd take to take one down and bring it over to our Public Works and just store it there. Then we can, if you want us to, we could try to see what we could get to sell one and see what the numbers are.
See what the value is.
Yeah.
And I would propose that we just start with our local folks. Don't even put it online, just let because that's where our interest has come. And, you know, we always like helping the industries and stuff for sure if they have a need for it. I'm sure New Millennium would love both of them, because they used to use them. But, you know, with no cover on it, it doesn't really help them much.
All right, does the board want to try one or table this till we can think about it some more? One thing we're going to talk about here in a little bit at the end is if we want to do a little bus tour or we want to do anything, a little goals meeting, but has anybody been out there to see these things? Has most people seen them? Okay, they're really well built.
Have you seen them in their current condition?
Metal doesn't, yeah, it's pretty bad right now, but it's still The bones,
There's no rust.
The bones are still good.
Aluminum and
Yeah,
stainless.
it's galvanized, yeah,
I
galvanized.
mean, it's,
The arches are, I think, are aluminum.
yeah.
So.
But, okay, back to what we wanna do. We wanna put one on, did you see what it's worth? Or y'all wanna table it till another time, till we can talk about it?
I don't have a problem letting our local industries look at them. I think that's who we ought to, because I'm sure they'll look at them, then they'll go back and look and see what a new one would cost for them to construct, and I think they'll find out real quick.
First step, declare them surplus. If we don't,
Right.
just because it's declared surplus doesn't mean we have to get rid of it, right?
Right.
Or do we? I mean, if we come up with, we've done that stuff in the past, you know, another department will bring something over to Public Works to sell, we're like, yeah, we like that, and we take it. So,
Okay.
kind of same thing.
Yeah, you're losing options, declaring surplus.
Yeah, that'll be the first step.
Y'all want to try to declare one of them surplus and see if the local industry wants to look at it? Potential letting them buy it?
Yes.
Start all over again. Okay. So, is there a motion to declare one surplus or both? We could do
So
both.
moved. So moved.
One? Okay. Motion second. Motion second, declare one of the structures surplus.
Her looking at it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we'll do one and we'll see what's out there. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going down to number 7, which is a dump truck.
Yes, sir.
Kenneth's not here.
Kenneth's not here. Kenneth was feeling a little bad.
Glad he's not here.
Yeah. On March the 2nd, 2023, we at 2 p.m., we took bids on the 2023 dump truck. Remember, this is one we took bids on a few weeks earlier. We did get a little better price and we got a lot better time delivery. We had one bid from Artex Truck Center for $168,006.48. That is within the overall budget. Our plan is, you know, we lost the one dump truck. We got $99,354 on insurance from that. We plan to put that as our equity stake in the truck, the new truck, if you allow us to purchase it. And then we'd finance over 3 years the remaining amount of $68,652.48. We had budgeted $30,000 annually this year, and had planned to do that for the next 2 years. But we think if we can get an interest rate of 6%, that payment should be more closer to $25,068. And the truck, they told us it'd be here prior to May 1st. According to Kenneth, should be here next week.
Wow, perfect.
So where staff recommends we accept this low bid of Artex Truck Center.
This is the one that just changed the specs on the motor size or something?
We changed the specs, but I don't know if this one, I think this one might have been the original specs. He's not here to confirm that, but I think this is the truck he was originally looking at.
I move that we accept the bid from Artex Truck Center for a dump truck in the amount of $168,006.48.
Got a motion? Second. All those in favor for Artex Truck Center, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Good deal. All right, item 8, Kelly, LED lighting.
Yes, sir. On the same day, we accepted bids for the Kelly Fields LED lighting project. If y'all recall, this is in the budget. Tourism agreed to fund $430,000 for this LED lighting to light Kelly Fields. We'll be replacing all the lighting there, the halide, I forget what they call those kind of lights, with the new LED lights, new poles, new electric, and everything. We received bid, and that bid was, the low bid was in the amount of $459,900. That's over our budget, $29,900. Talking with the engineer, he doesn't think we're gonna get a better price. He thinks that, given the current market price, that if we tried to rebid it, it won't get better. He thinks this is a fair price. You know, one thing I think the board could do, it did go over 29,900 over what tourism committed. You could approve this bid contingent upon tourism's agreement to up their bid, or you could approve this bid with having to come out of reserves of the city money. Or we could go to the tourism first to see if they're willing to do that. If they're not, I could come back to you and see if the board is willing to bring it out of reserves. We can still accomplish the project, but in any case, however we accomplish it, it'll be 29,900 over what we had originally budgeted if the board wants to proceed.
Well, after practicing in the dark on those fields last night,
Yeah.
I'm in favor of new lights. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm not excited about the cost, but the cost is what it is, and I think we got to take a step forward to start making some improvements in the lighting down there at some point. So I would make a motion that we accept this bid, and we can go to tourism for to find out if they can cover the difference. But I definitely think that we should move. My motion would be to move forward with this bid.
Okay.
Second.
All right, motion to accept the bid, but to let tourism see if they can make up the additional 29.9. And then we'll bring it back to the board if they decide to kick it back to us. All right. All those in favor, motion second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. That's been needing to be done for a while. Okay,
Mr. Mayor, I have one question,
okay.
if you don't mind.
Which one?
Since we're on lights, where are we at on soccer field lights?
Well, that's,
It's in line.
I think that's gonna be talked about in just a minute with the, with approval for the tourism to look into some bonds.
And Summer, you're here, and you can speak to this. The lights we'll be taking down can be used at other fields, including the soccer field. And now we do have a local person with a bucket truck that reaches those lights now.
Yep.
He
Is it
just got
Mark?
last month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Summer was telling me
Mark Rosenbaum,
Yep.
he's got a bucket truck that can reach it last month, so.
he bought a new truck or used truck, and
And as far as the lights that we do take down from Kelly Field, we'll be able to use
They're
those out
interchangeable, yes.
on the soccer field, so we'll be able to get those changed out.
so that could kick us down the road a couple more years, replacing lights that we couldn't get anywhere else. We can keep them and try to use them.
Be good. Yeah, save some money, then save some time. Okay, does that answer your question, Mark?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay,
I
you're
thought
fine.
there was an issue with bulbs on those, for those lights.
There was, but the lights we're gonna take down at Kelly Field, when we put up these new LEDs, those bulbs can be taken out and put in these other facilities. They'll work.
Okay.
The ones that are not burn out,
Yes, ma'am.
which are not very many.
Well, it wasn't the bulbs that went yesterday. It was
Yeah, that's something bigger.
The whole
Yeah.
system went yesterday.
Oh, really?
We had a breaker catch
there was a
fire
breaker
and
that blew.
all of Kelly 3 lots went
Fire.
out. So, yeah.
Always fun.
Yeah, we were on the.
It's
phone.
fixed now. Sammy fixed it this morning. He spent an entire day on it, but it's fixed.
Thank good for Sammy.
Nothing
tell you
Sandy
what.
can't fix.
He worked all day. He was pretty aggravated, but it's fixed.
Sammy aggravated, that's hard to run married to.
Yeah, if Sammy's not aggravated, something's wrong.
I know.
All right, we'll move on to item 9, which is the long-term plan for the park.
Yeah, Mayor, I think this may be the more fun discussion. Yeah, I think I talked with the mayor some. I think I've talked with some other board members in the past about the possibility of doing a large park project. This is not any specific project. It's something maybe we can get our citizens involved in, determine what they want. But technically, and I got this idea from talking to Sherwood and touring some facilities they did, and they pledged A&P tax revenues towards, pledged those as payments on the bond over a period of years. And they did a really large, nice project. They built like 7 brand new tennis courts and a complex with a pro shop. I think they added some pickleball. They added 2 or 3 soccer fields with all the lights. They did multi-million-dollar project. And they pledged like a percentage of their A&P tax towards the payment over the life of the bonds. And I think I mentioned that to a few guys, and the mayor and I were talking. The mayor wanted me to put this kind of topic on our board, so it's something maybe the board could consider. Do we want to do a large project? Would we want to go to our citizens and feel like, what is it we want to do? And then maybe approach tourism about what's the possibility of doing this. I don't remember the exact years, but we used to get 1% was our A&P tax. And maybe 8-10 years ago we went up to 2%. So to let you know what 2% does is about $750,000 in revenue annually. 1% was about 3. Am I pretty close?
Pretty close.
So what could be considered is we could use 50, if the tourism would agree, we could commit 50% of that, or 40%, or 60%, or 30% as payment on bonds, and that could still leave plenty of money to do some local requests and asks and other things that tourism may want to do. Anyway, it's just a point of discussion. With the mayor wanted to bring it to y'all tonight to discuss. And,
Yeah.
so here we are.
Well, we had a little interesting point right now for the city. We got some extra money from the ARPA money. We got money that's put back, and we got a one-time to use some of that money, and also do a bond issue to do some nice stuff for the citizens of Hope that we've been kind of holding back on. We do have the oldest pool in America, I think. So, something that we could make a statement that we could give the citizens something to enjoy. This doesn't have to be decided tonight, but just so we can start thinking about what we'd like to see. I know we made the run at the aquatic park, and we made some talks about other things, but I think tourism was talking about just mainly doing something in the park system with lighting, maybe some astroturf and some infills or something, but it'd be just a way we can make it, instead of waiting till we get the money, we can go ahead and get some stuff going with the bond issue.
And Mayor, we did get some initial pricing on what it would cost to, let's say, take one complex like Kelly Fields. This was the example. And what it would take us to turf the whole complex would be somewhere around $800,000. And that's turfing the infields, all the way to the dugouts. It'd be around $800,000. If we tried to do that field by field, it's about $300,000 per field, so we'd lose some economy of scale. But when these companies come in, they want to do several, and they give you a little break.
Now, one thing that we talked about before was if we did do the infills, that'd make fixing the fields a thing of the past. I mean, it'd be very little maintenance in getting a field ready, because it's already striped, it's already ready to go. I mean, you don't have that, because we spend a lot of time in the summer on fields getting them ready. I know we do. I've watched them do it. So I wonder how long it takes to set up Kelly now with manpower for a game.
If we do all 3 fields, it'll take about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Which that's infield and stropping foul lines and stuff.
Yeah.
And the other advantage is the teams can play in bad weather. They can continue their tournaments. They don't cancel their tournaments. And if we did a larger project, something like that, if y'all decided to do something like that, we could even incorporate, fencing, nice fencing that would drive ticket sales to a certain area, so tournaments could make sure they had their ticket sales. We could increase the looks and aesthetics of the walking areas with concrete and redo some of our, the amenities of the concession stands and make it look better. There's a lot of things that could be done. And for example, if you say you did $1.5 million worth of dollars, if you pledged $300,000 a year of A&P funds, you could probably pay for that in 5 years. And then you could move on to your next project or something of that nature.
And there's, I think Mark had some people that he ran into about the soccer fields.
Yeah, at the mobile home park, I have a large contingent of Hispanic, and I know we did a public hearing about 2 or 3 years ago when we was talking about the pocket park, and we had literally promised that we'd work on the soccer fields because the water, it holds water.
Yeah, the drainage issue
And
there.
according to him, Mount Pleasant probably has a tournament every other weekend. And when they say tournaments for soccer, they're talking about 40 to 60 teams.
Yeah.
And the Spanish community really thinks that could be brought to Hope only if the fields. Now, I'll just be honest, the next problem you'll have would be parking. Because we don't have that kind of parking out there. But, you know, that's, I call that growing pains. You know, worry about that later, you know?
Yeah.
But I think we really need to look at all of our culturals here in Hope, not just baseball, you know.
Yeah,
We need to look at everybody, because they pay taxes just like we do. When I say they, I'm talking about all the cultures.
And there's other things we can do besides, you know, like A&P commitments. We can, the trails program, there's
Absolutely.
grants for trail programs. We make it incorporate some grant money in with some A&P money or ARPA money.
Yeah.
And we can make it fund multiple ways of funding a larger project.
Okay, but we just wanted to bring that to the board so we could be thinking about it. It's, like I say, no decision tonight, but this is something that probably brought up at tourism to see if and then if we decide that something we can do at tourism, we'll bring it back to the board and keep everybody in the loop on how we're proceeding with this. Any other comments about this before we move on?
Yeah, I think, you know, you consider north side as well, because there's been a need
yeah.
for electrical out there.
Yeah.
I know as far as concerts or whatever, other activities need to be considered.
So I think we're putting in for the outdoor recreation grant again this year. You're on that, and we'll be putting in for that splash pad again. And y'all have already decided that would be located at Northside Parks, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And so we're going to continue trying to make that grant till we make that happen.
And this little, definitely this little, whatever, if we did build.
And at the north side part needs a lot of repair on it. A whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to consider that first, you know, and we're gonna have some good activities over there.
Yeah.
You got the water fountain leaking and water running everywhere, so that's not good.
Well, if anybody sees a water leak anywhere, please let us know. And Summer and I've talked, and her staff is they're looking for water leaks every time they go somewhere. But if we don't see one, please let us know. All you do is give us a call. We'll be out there to fix that water leak.
Let's go out there and look, you'll see water running everywhere.
I haven't heard
You'll see it.
All right, so tomorrow morning, please go out there and look.
Okay,
I have a question.
okay, Linda.
Also with the North South Park, and she's here. Marcia, you came and discussed something about, could not have been you though. With the water backup, the holes that the kids, did that get resolved, that issue?
No, we just kinda keep saying that it's a low area, but, I mean, I think that's where Ms. Hazel talking about. Are you talking about the same down where the new stuff is? Where the new stuff is at, when it rains, the water sits there longer than,
The playground?
The drainage.
Where the playground is?
yes, sir.
Miss
So
Marshall,
that's,
I get it.
Yes, the drainage.
that's why I was thinking maybe the water pad be on that end, since that's already a
Oh.
water hole in place anyway. It's probably,
Yeah. So what we can do, our city engineer is Jeremy Stone.
That is.
Okay.
And when we have rain, it'll kind of pool in here, so we can get with Jeremy, and we can see how we may get that off there in the best way, whether it's a French drain, or we can make it naturally drain some way.
We just make it a splash pad when it's hot.
There you go.
That's what I was saying.
With a splash
I'm
pad.
all for that. That just solved the problem right there.
And the water come in,
I don't
I
know
think
about,
the big
I don't
dish
know
was
about that. I don't know
overflowing,
about
go everywhere, but we're supposed to go, so that's the problem.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, we'll get checking on that, and we'll get Jeremy to talk about that drainage problem. Okay, we'll move on to city manager report.
We need to set up, the mayor asked us to set a date for a board bus tour and goals meeting. So I was just wanting to see when y'all would like to do that.
Do we need a bus tour, or do we just need a goals meeting? That's one thing I was thinking about, because everybody's pretty well, is there any place we'd like to do it?
Oh, she was looking at the picture.
So we're milling, we're overlaying now, and we'll be milling here in just a few weeks, so.
What do you think? We want to get together, or we just want to get together with the goals meeting? Is there anything anybody'd like to see in the city that we hadn't already seen? I mean, we used to do it annually, but I think one thing if we hadn't seen is look at the airport. They've really done a good job fixing it up out there. I think that's a good place. But I do think we need to get together with department heads like we usually do and do a little goals meeting.
Now, Tammy's done a good job on the animal control. I go down there a lot. That'd be nice for the board to see the animal control building. They put the new floors and everything in, new fencing. I mean, she's done a really good job managing that and keeping it going.
What's our time frame on finishing the pocket park?
Summer, please.
Tony will be here next week when it's not raining to finish laying the brick, and we'll be completely done with it. So we just gotta get the light poles painted at the top and finish the string lights and the brick laid, so.
Have we got the electrical circuit up there yet?
We supposed to go out there last week to do that, so I'll double check on that one.
Okay.
So it'll be a full go for
We'll
train
be able to
day.
get the
Yeah.
dumpsters with the lid on, so the buzzers and all this won't be on there, taking it out the trash and everything. I already got them over there, with the lids on. I was over there the day, I didn't see them.
I don't,
No bus tour. Okay, nobody's interested. Okay.
No, we're into that.
We'll go.
We've already, you suggested a place, and
Yeah.
Mark suggested a place that we haven't been to.
Well, let's set it in April sometime, like next month. You can go ahead and set a date. We usually do it off Tuesday, that's when, I think that's how we used to do it.
Tuesday morning.
Trevor, I know it's tough. I tell you what, I'm the same way.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I can do it, I just
It's
gotta,
too-
the earlier I know about it, the easier it is.
Let's do that second Tuesday, I guess.
The 10th.
11.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's a bad day, that's a bad time, Doris.
The two first
Yes,
weeks
Chair.
of April, Tammy won't be there. Now, she doesn't have to be there, but if you'd like to be able to, for her to be able to show you her facility, it would need to be the latter 2 weeks.
About the 25th.
Let's do the 25th. That'll give everybody plenty of time to plan. Yeah, April 25th. We'll meet up here like we usually do, about 9:30, and have lunch, and then we'll chill with everybody, and then,
And that'll give us a chance to think of possible places to go.
Correct.
yeah, we'll let JR
It
know.
is.
All right,
April 25th at 9:30, we'll meet here, take the tour, come back here,
What
have the
time did you
goals
say
meeting.
start?
we usually
And lunch.
have lunch, and then at the college.
Oh, at the
and then-
college?
And then we have department heads meet us, and then we have a goals meeting.
All right,
But we'll work on that.
April 25th.
Okay.
I wanted to let you know of potential change order to the streetscape project that may be coming. So I did check on the electric outlets on the poles. The poles will have electric outlets on them, but they're at the top. I think that's where they probably have to be. But to make those work, it's gonna take a little more wiring, a little more work. They estimate probably $3,000 to $5,000 if y'all, if we want to kind of move in that direction. They thought that's what it would be. That was the engineer's estimate. So if we want to make sure those electric lights can work and we can plug in like our Christmas decorations, 2 of them or whatever, on all the poles, it'd take about $3,000 to $5,000 more dollars. But if you want me to move ahead with that change order, I'll ask the engineer to make that request to the contractor. They'll put that formally in writing. If y'all give me the authority just to sign it and move on, I will. If it goes over $5,000, I'll come back to you if you want me to, or if it's close to that, I'll just sign it and move on, or if you want me to come back to you, I can.
JR, would that be in the 2nd Street and Elm Street? That'd be about what, 20 light poles approximately?
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact number.
Yeah.
My question is, are they wiring them so they're hot all the time? Or are they wiring them just when the lights come on?
They will come on. I think you can make them hot all the time if you want to, or we can make them come on when the lights come on, whatever y'all wanted to do, I think.
The ones currently downtown, the plugs are wired
All the time.
all the time. Because we use them sometimes during train days and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess a vendor could pull up with some kind of, and be able to
Yep.
lock into it.
We just need to make sure they do it that way.
Yeah, I can make that request of the engineer. All right, well, if y'all want me to, I'll make that request and.
You need a motion. Need a motion to, it's gonna be like change order for the lighting to be, lights to be rewired for plugs. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Jill,
Okay,
could you
thank you.
find out for us approximately how many light poles that is?
Sure,
Just
sure.
out of curiosity.
Also, I had a visit with Philip Mobley this past week about a potential travel center that some investors in Texarkana are considering putting in on some of his property across from Walmart. His interest in speaking with the city is about maybe getting some help with the roadway. Typically that's part of the developer's expense. But he wanted to have that discussion. Basically what I told Mr. Mobley is you have to, need to put his request in some kind of formal request. I'd bring it to the board, and I told him I'm sure the board would want some estimates on
He's done this before.
how that,
He came to us
yeah.
on his other.
Chicken Express.
But I haven't gotten, I haven't got a request to come to the board yet, but that may be coming, and when it does, I'll get it on the agenda, and you'll be able to hear his request. And I did ask him that, hey, we need an estimate on what the travel center maybe bring in, and we would need an estimate on how much of that they estimate would be outside money, not just stealing customers within city. What would be new tax revenue, if that's something they could do. That may give the board some estimate about what's the tax base that may be added to our current taxes. And it may help if you decide to put any money towards the roadway, that may be something you'd want to consider. Visited with a representative of the Super 8 Motel. This was just a brief street visit. Steve was talking with him, and they just approached me on the street, so I didn't get the man's card, and I don't recall his name. But he is one of the people, I don't think he's the owner, but he works for this corporation that owns Super 8, and they are considering maybe reducing those into apartments. And they were asking me how they had to go about that. I referred them to the code enforcement with their plans and what they're trying to do, and that they could help them walk through their responsibilities. And so I just wanted to let you know that. I received an email from Ms. Graves on February 8th of the Hope Housing Authority, And she let us know that Mr. Cliff Knowles resigned his position on the Hope Housing Authority Commission. Under the law, the Housing Authority has 45 days to appoint a new commissioner. To make that recommendation, and when they appoint one, it has to come here for y'all's confirmation. If they fail to appoint one within 45 days, which I estimate would be March 25th, then the mayor could make an appointment and the board could move forward with an appointment and confirmation. Did want to let you know that Mr. Knowles was I think the chairperson of that commission. So he's not our chairperson. Now Ms. Kim Hollis is the chairperson, and Mr. Sam Bradford is vice chair. I also wanted to let you know that we're meeting with our engineers next week, me and Mark Curtis and I. We're going to be discussing that old landfill remediation problem where the water is contaminated. And this next week we should be putting in a monitoring well. We're going to be doing that. That's a minor cost, $4,000 to $5,000. So that should go in next week. They have already revised their plans and able to lower the amount of soil it would take to cap that landfill. They have some new ideas on how to remove the contaminated water that's sitting in the trenches of those landfills now. They're going to bring that to me. And so we're going to talk about a new revised plan that I will eventually bring to you guys. And we are still meeting. We haven't got an answer from the attorneys of ADEQ about the post-closure fund, whether or not that fund will pay for the remediation of the closed landfill. So we don't have that yet. That's really the main thing we're waiting on, because if they'll pay for it, our discussions are really kind of moot in terms of the cost for us. It'd be more on the fund. But if the post-closure fund will not pay for this, then it's going to be something the city will have to bear. And so we're going to try to get you the best price we can and keep you informed. But we do have to do something, no doubt about it. Eventually ADEQ is going to keep ratcheting the pressure, and we'll have to do something about this as soon as we can. I did want to let you know that a meeting with code enforcement tomorrow. We're going to be going over some condemnations that was approved by y'all pre-COVID. We're going to get with Randy. We're not sure, since we never took action. I mean, the board took action, but we've never done anything on those properties. If that action of the board is still valid, I would believe it would be, but I think Carl wanted to discuss that with you a little bit more closely. Also, we're going to be they're bringing me some recommended properties for condemnation, and we'll get those on the agenda for your next meeting. We'll bring those to you for your consideration. We'll also be talking about summertime coming up and certain violations that we need to address, whether that's grass growing or lots not being taken care of. Director Ross shared with me a few properties off Ralston Road that are getting pretty unsightly. We will address those and make a plan of action on how to address that. And we'll be consulting with Randy, if it's okay with Judge, looking for new mechanisms to maybe address some issues that we haven't used in the past, but I think are legal to use. Administrative orders to enter property and to remove things that are inappropriate. The difficulty is that will cost the city to do it. It will cost us, and we can find somebody, but if they don't pay it, they just don't pay it. We could attach liens to property, that kind of thing, and that's something we can discuss with Judge about and see maybe how we want to move forward. But I definitely think we can leverage our abilities on properties that are really way outside the scope of any kind of appropriate neighborhood practice, and we'll try to get a little more creative on that. I did want to let you know too, we solved the runway slope issue off the runway, crosswind runway. Street went out. We did some tree removal, so that should not be a problem in the future. We should have the plane should be able to have full access to that runway for many years to come, and it not having to move on down the runway because of trees getting too tall. And I wanted to let you know lastly that it's my wife and my 38th wedding anniversary Thursday. So if it's okay with the board, I think we were gonna take off Thursday, Friday, and Monday. Some of my family's coming into town. I'll be available by the phone, I'll be available with staff, but if it's okay with y'all, I'm gonna take off a few days. I told.
How are you?
No, more like Little Rock. More like going to Little Rock.
So what you're saying, you're inviting the board to go with you?
Buster, Buster,
I told the mayor, they wanted us to go to some kind of dance celebration at the college, and they wanted me to participate in some dance. And so luckily I'm getting out of that. I think the mayor's roped into it. He's got the dance at beans, bags, and bagels, or
yeah, something and bagels, I like that.
whatever it is. All right, so that's all I had, man.
Okay, thank you, JR. Citizen request.
Good afternoon, Marcia White is the name. Yes, Ms. Hazel, we staying in touch with Ms. Summer about some things at that park. And I'm grateful, I'm pleased for the new trash can. I went out there, actually I talked to the man, because he comes on Sunday. So, but I just want to announce this, like, short notice that the Votosaurs and the different organizations that be coming together, having these meetings once a month, are gonna do things as they did on last year with that, the Kids Fun Day. Sorry, short notice with y'all, but it's March the 18th out at the Northside Park from 10 to 2. So if you're not having anything to do, and I will be getting with a man at the police station, I always just go right direct to them.
There's your new man right there.
Yeah. My new man. What my signature in? Or should I be her?
It should be her.
Oh, well, baby, I've been stepping around. Okay, thanks for pointing that out. But anyway, I'll be letting them know because we do appreciate the police has come out and do what they do for supporting us. And also this Sunday at 1 o'clock, if you're not doing nothing, and if you are, pray for us that you can't come. Children's Church of Hope, Arkansas, which is funded by Jesus Christ himself, and the spokesperson is Marcia White, is having their 1-year celebration. So if you can't attend, pray for us. Thank y'all for listening. Have a blessed one.
No, Patsy White, she hadn't passed away.
Who was it you're telling me passed away? There was a Patsy. What's her last name?
White.
Yeah.
She passed away.
May want to recognize her.
I will, I tell you what, I did not know that. She was a good customer, see her all the
She was
time.
just sweeping the street like a week ago or something, maybe 2 weeks
I
ago.
hate to announce it. Really?
Yes.
Did Patsy White pass
She
away?
did, and yes,
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
the service is,
yes.
on Saturday at 3 p.m. Red Road,
Yeah, I
Sherman
went,
Baptist Church.
well, I hate, she was a regular, more ways than one.
She was
But,
like,
yeah, she was a fireball, that's right, and,
Yes,
good heart, I tell you what, she,
yes,
you always go see my mom in the nursing home. I really appreciate it, but she was a good woman,
yes.
and I will miss her. But anything else come before the board before
I
we
just have a
dismiss?
couple of things I'd
Okay.
like to ask.
All right.
Talk about the surplus, we had discussed that platform at the park that's near the basketball courts.
Yes.
What did we ever do on that?
Agreed. So I don't think, have we ever got that on Gov Deals? I don't,
It's been on, I've listed it 3 different times, 0
Yeah,
bids.
I thought at one time we
They
had somebody
wanted-
that offered.
they-
Mac, I think Mac had said
Yeah, we,
at one time, he may have changed his mind.
Yeah.
Pretty
Right.
Yeah,
costly
and
to
then,
move.
and then
Garrett
wanted it, and
Yeah,
I
they,
guess they decided
contacted
it was too
them
much.
and
Yeah.
I did say that if they were planning to put it across that creek, that would not be allowed, and I never heard from them, so. Cause that is a floodway and they're not gonna wanna spend the engineering costs to determine if that interferes with the floodway.
Yeah.
So, that was their intention, I would assume, on that.
Okay.
Replace that wood thing.
and the next thing is lights at the basketball court, somewhere down the line, and Summer might know the answer to this one. The lights at the basketball courts got eliminated somehow. I know they're not working any longer.
Airport,
Yes,
I'll check on them and see why.
okay. I actually think some of that was right before COVID. Maybe we didn't want everybody playing ball and everything during
Now,
COVID.
the electrical line's been cut,
Or-
or somewhere in the ground.
Yeah.
Is what I was told when we put that fiber in several years ago, it wasn't working.
In the businesses downtown, as far as the dumpsters at the hub, I know we discussed putting some type of wall around that.
Yeah, if that's the
We
pleasure of
used
the
to have
board.
one years
We
ago.
can, I mean, we could do that. It won't, I don't think it'll cost much money. We could put a decorative, cinder block wall. And maybe, but importantly, we'd have to put metal poles inside, so when they set the, basically don't actually hit the walls and knock them down. That's that's the only problem with those. We'd have to do something like that, and we'd have to drill into the concrete to be able to set those poles. But we could do that. I mean, we could even plan it next year to do in a budget. We could actually put it in our budget. But it's really whatever y'all want us to do, we'd be glad to.
The businesses were wanting to know, where they're at right now. They was wondering if you could put them, but, because I know the sanitation truck goes either way. They was wanting it to face away from the hub instead of,
Yeah, so in other words, if you're at the hub, you don't really see the trash cans.
the wall will be around and they would actually face
Face the alley.
east, correct.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we could really consider whatever y'all want, I think. I mean, I think it's a small amount of money. It's something we could get done. It's really what the board, if y'all give us that direction, we'll sure be glad to do it. Something for maybe y'all to think
why don't
about.
we visit with Peaches and, you wanna get a
And
cost?
with some of
You
the
wanna get a
business
cost?
owners there too.
Right.
Yeah, kinda get an initial cost and.
All right. All right, I'll visit with Peaches, or Nathaniel, and I'll go speak to some of the business owners down that street. We'll have, me and Nathaniel will.
It's actually Main Street owners.
Yeah, and we'll report back to you and let y'all have some information to make a decision.
Cheap things.
Okay, that's good. Anything else to come before the board tonight? If not, thank everybody for coming and meeting's adjourned.